the next thing I want to talk about, our one college basketball topic of the day. There's not a lot going on in college basketball. Obviously, March Madness has ended. But can Carolina run it back and be a title team again next year? Arjun, I want to hear what you got to say about this.
This is being that we're all from Chapel Hill. I think that there might be a little bias for this, but I think that they can run it back. The problem will be Brady Manek's hole because he's obviously not going to come back. He's extremely old. He's been in college for 5 years. But the biggest news is Armando Bega coming back. Over last year, if you followed UNC basketball, you could tell that they didn't mesh at all in the beginning of the season, had defensive problems, but they figured themselves out by the end of the year. And if you get Caleb Love, if you get all those guys to run it back, you have an all right bench. I think that Hubert Davis is going to get better. He's getting better as a coach. We saw his development. Obviously, there are a lot of factors playing to it, but early on, from what I'm seeing, from what I saw in the postseason, if we get relatively the same roster, if we have Baycott, if we have this RJ Davis is an extremely streaky guard, and then Caleb Love, who I think is going to stay, given that he really hurt his stock that one game, and I think if he gets drafted, he'll go late second round, maybe, and then go late second round. But I think all those guys are going to stay.
I would say I don't think I got.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I don't think Caleb Love hurt his stock because generally looking back at March, without Caleb Love, they're probably a second round exit because Caleb Love consistently showed up and was that dude, especially down the stretch because most of the games they played were close besides Doug, of course, rest in peace.
If you shoot 5 for 24 in a championship, the most important game,
but every game leading up to there, including the most important game was Duke Carolina Final Four. If you ask anyone, like, what do you remember? Which game do you remember the most from March Madness? It'll be Duke Carolina because that was the game that everyone cared about. They had never met in March. He retired Coach K forever, and he had 30 points, and he hit the shot. He showed he's that dude. So his draft's not going to go down. But getting to the point, I'll make this quick. If Caleb Love is back, my answer is different. But I don't think he's coming back since he is on the draft boards of teams. So I would vote no. Losing the consistency and the dominance that Manek had last year, I just don't know if they can replace that. Since Washington, they got coming in the 4-star, 5-star center. He's 6'9", and he's pretty skinny, and he's like an average athlete. And I do not trust his knees, and I don't also trust him at the 4. I don't love.
I would okay. So
isn't. I'll get to you in a second. I don't trust Washington or their other recruits to come in and fill in the Manek role that they're losing, and also Garcia won't be back because he's transferring it. Ant Harris. Obviously, he didn't play in the second half either, but they're losing him. They won't have him on for bench depth either next year. So it depends on what they get in the transfer portal and if Caleb Love comes back. If Caleb Love comes back and they find another piece in the transfer portal, like maybe a Terrence Shannon if he goes to Carolina, then yeah, I would say they can run it back. But right now, with Caleb Love probably on the outs and Manek gone, and they're not looking too bright in the transfer portal, I would say I don't think they run it back.
Yeah, so Hubert Davis obviously did a fantastic job as a Duke fan. Props to him. He's a great guy. He did a fantastic job for them. This isn't 1-to-1, but I would, in a sense, compare this to the Heat's run in 2020, just for the sense of they had the advantage of people didn't know they were coming. And I don't think they really realized it until the Elite Eight. It's like, okay, these guys can win, right? And they got close. I mean, what did they lose by 3 points or something like that? In the finals against Kansas, they were right there as an 8 seed. So that's really impressive. The 2 words that should mean the most to you are Armando Baycott, because him choosing to come back for his senior year is huge. The improvement that he showed from last year to this past year, massive. What can he be as a senior? As a Duke fan, I'm shitting my pants at the thought of what Armando Baycott can be in his senior year. If he can be just as good as he was last year, that's a big threat to the NCAA. The reason I'm saying no is because the element of surprise and momentum was totally in their favor. Forget the ACC tournament because, I don't think
especially not going to help anyone. The momentum, when you look at like them beating Coach K in his final game in Cameron,
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace.